Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be diving into something that everyone can relate to, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's the changing seasons.
For sure.
But we're going way beyond just like the leaves changing color or, the weather.
Right.
We've got two original songs here, Summer versus Winter Seasons and Dance of the Seasons.
Okay.
I'm so curious to see how they each capture that universal experience, what everyone goes through every single year through music.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, isn't it, how artists can take something, it's like breathing, something that happens all the time, and then you can find these new layers of meaning through creative choices.
Absolutely. And these songs, while they're both about the seasons, they take such different approaches.
Totally different.
Like Summer versus Winter Seasons is just like bursting with that bright, joyful, like summertime energy.
Yeah.
You can practically hear the ice cream truck, and kids laughing in the sprinklers just from the opening notes.
Oh, for sure.
What stood out to you about how they create that feeling?
Well, they use a lot of vivid sensory details in the lyrics. Things like melting ice cream cones, fireflies blinking in the twilight. It's very evocative.
Yeah.
But it's not just the words. The music itself has this infectious energy, right?
Yes.
You get those major chords.
Yeah.
You got a fast tempo that creates a sense of pure, unadulterated summertime fun.
Yeah, I was tapping my foot along almost instantly. It's like that feeling of endless summer days when you're a kid.
Exactly. And that's emphasized even further by the song's structure.
Yeah.
The chorus is simple, repetitive. It's almost like a child's chant.
Right.
And it really reinforces that sense of cyclical time.
Yeah.
The way summer days just seem to stretch on forever when you're young.
But then it shifts, right?
Yeah.
We go from those like sun-drenched days to winter.
Yeah.
And I was expecting a more like drastic change in the music.
Oh, yeah.
But it's actually a really smooth transition.
That's one of the things I find so clever about this song, actually. It's instead of this like harsh contrast, it's a gradual shift.
Right.
It's almost like watching the sun slowly set and feeling the first hint of autumn crispness in the air.
Yeah.
Musically, they achieve this by subtly modulating to a minor key and slowing down the tempo just a bit.
It's so effective. And the imagery changes too, right? Instead of like the wide open fields and beaches, we get these cozy scenes of crackling fireplaces and snow falling outside the window.
Exactly. It's a move from that outward vibrant energy of summer to a more cozy inward feeling of winter.
Right.
And by doing that, the song doesn't pit the seasons against each other. It celebrates the unique beauty of both.
Yeah.
Acknowledging their differences, but also showing how they complement each other.
Right. It's like two sides of the same coin. Like both are essential parts of a complete cycle. It makes you think about those cycles in your own life too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. We all go through periods of outward expansion, and then times when we need to turn inward, reflect, and recharge. It's that natural ebb and flow that keeps things balanced.
Okay, so we've got the celebration of summer's energy and then a beautiful depiction of that shift into a quieter winter mood. I'm curious to see how Dance of the Seasons tackles this same theme, because it's got a totally different vibe from what I've heard.
Yeah, Dance of the Seasons takes a much more poetic and metaphorical approach. It's less about those little descriptions, and more about capturing the essence of each season through evocative imagery and symbolism.
Like how so? What kind of imagery are we talking about?
Well, take the verse about autumn, for example. It describes the falling leaves as a painter with a golden hue, splashing colors across the sky. That's not a literal description.
Yeah.
But it beautifully captures that visual spectacle of autumn foliage.
I love that. It paints such a vivid picture in your mind, and the music itself feels more lyrical, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's more introspective.
Yeah.
It's almost like a film score with these sweeping melodies and rich harmonies that evoke a sense of grandeur and wonder.
Wow.
And that's reflected in the lyrics too. Instead of simple descriptions, it uses metaphors like a symphony of life to describe spring's reawakening, or whispering wind carrying secrets untold. to evoke that mystery of winter.
Okay, I am definitely intrigued. Tell me more about how this Dance of the Seasons unfolds. So it sounds like Dance of the Seasons really takes us on this journey through the entire year, but through this like lens of metaphor and emotion.
Right.
Does it hit all the seasons, or does it focus more on certain ones?
It definitely touches on each season. You're right, the emphasis isn't equal. Spring is portrayed with this delicate, almost like hesitant beauty. Like nature is just starting to wake up from a long slumber.
Yeah.
And the music has this lightness to it, this sense of anticipation, as if everything's about to burst into bloom.
I can picture it, those first buds appearing on the trees, a sense of new beginnings in the air.
Exactly. And then summer arrives with full force. The music becomes more expansive, warmer, reflecting those long sun-drenched days. But even in this celebration of summer, there's this hint of melancholy woven in, like a subtle foreshadowing of the inevitable shift to come.
Interesting. So it's not just pure joy and like carefree abandon, like we heard in summer versus winter seasons.
Right. There's a layers complexity here.
Okay.
An acknowledgement that even in the midst of abundance, there's an awareness of time passing.
Yeah.
And that becomes even more pronounced in the autumn section.
Tell me about that. I'm really curious how they handle autumn because it's such a bittersweet season.
It is. The imagery they use is really striking.
Okay.
There's this one line about leaves surrendering to the wind, their fiery dance, a final farewell.
Oh.
And it really captures that sense of letting go, of beauty tinged with sadness. That's so characteristic of autumn.
It's like the world is exhaling after a long, deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
And that sense of reflection, that turning inward, it carries through to winter, doesn't it?
It does. And this is where Dance of the Seasons gets really interesting.
Okay.
It doesn't shy away from the more somber aspects of winter.
Yeah.
The music becomes slower, more introspective, and the lyrics talk about a world hushed in white, secrets whispered beneath the frozen ground.
Wow, that's powerful. It's like winter becomes this time for deep introspection.
Right.
Almost like nature is hibernating, gathering strength for the cycle to begin anew.
That's a great way to put it. And it ties into the song's overall message, which is about embracing change as an integral part of life. You know, finding beauty in all stages of the cycle, even the ones that might feel a bit sad or difficult.
Yeah. So we've got these two songs, both exploring the changing seasons, but with such different approaches.
Yeah.
Summer versus winter seasons celebrates that joyful energy, the simple pleasures of each season. And then Dance of the Seasons takes us on this more metaphorical, introspective journey.
It does, yeah. It's like they're offering us two distinct lenses to view this universal experience through. One focuses on the outward expressions of the seasons, while the other delves into their deeper, more symbolic meanings.
Right.
What's remarkable is that both approaches are valid and insightful.
And that's what I love about these deep dives, you know. We get to see how creative expression can illuminate even the most familiar aspects of life in surprising ways.
Totally.
Speaking of which, were there any specific moments or details in these songs that particularly resonated with you?
You know, for me, it's that chorus in Summer versus Winter Seasons. It's so simple, almost childlike.
Yeah.
But it really drives home that idea that these cycles are constantly repeating, you know?
Right.
Like, it's this comforting reminder that change is inevitable. Things will always come back around.
Yeah, there's a real sense of reassurance in that cyclical repetition.
And for me, in Dance of the Seasons, it's that image of winter's secrets whispered beneath the frozen ground. It's so evocative and mysterious. It makes you think about the hidden potential that lies dormant during those quiet periods of introspection.
I love that. Like, even in the stillness of winter, there's this underlying energy, this sense of anticipation for what will emerge, you know, when the cycle begins anew.
Exactly. And that brings us to a thought-provoking question for you, dear listener.
Okay.
What do the changing seasons mean to you personally? Beyond the literal weather patterns, how do these cycles manifest in your own life?
Do you find yourself drawn to certain activities, you know, or ways of being during different times of year?
Yeah.
Maybe you crave more social connection and outdoor adventures in the summer, and then you naturally shift into a more reflective, introspective mode during the winter months.
Right. I mean, we often talk about the seasons as external phenomena, but they also serve as powerful metaphors for our own internal rhythms
Right.
and cycles of growth, rest, and renewal.
It's amazing how these songs, while so different in style and tone, they ultimately circle back to that same universal truth.
Yeah, it really speaks to the power of art to connect us to something larger than ourselves.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired to go listen to both of these songs again with fresh ears.
Oh, I highly recommend it. Now that we've unpacked some of those layers of meaning and artistry, I think you'll appreciate them on a whole new level.
Yeah.
And maybe as you listen, consider what season you might be in your own life right now.
What resonates with you? What aspects of these songs reflect your own personal journey? You know, the beauty of these deep dives is that they don't end when the episode is over.
That's right.
You know, they spark these new ideas and insights that we can carry with us.
Absolutely.
So until next time, keep your ears open, your minds curious, and keep exploring the ever-changing world around us.